So now that the relationship has ended, paternity has been determined, and custody has been established, the hard work of co-parenting begins. If you're ready to stop the drama and work through the trauma, it's time for Co-Parent Court with your host, Judge Rochelle Jackson. Welcome to Co-Parent Court, the court where parents forget the drama and work through the trauma. I am your host, Judge Rochelle Jackson, and thank you for giving us some of your time on today. And today, I'm briefly going to speak to the issue of decision making as it involves parents who are dealing with conflict. And I just want to share, when we talk about defining some of the issues also that involves co. So we can be talking about communication, collaboration, cooperation, control, connection, condescending, and of course, what we're here for, the conflicts. So the conflict of decision making. A typical situation that comes up with decision making is typically the sharing of how parents resolve those decisions. And when we're talking about decision making, what decisions should we be, or should parents be concerned with? And those should be major decisions. And major decisions usually involves decision about schooling, extracurricular activities, financial support, medical decisions, spiritual upbringing, and the conversations that will help parents navigate through that are sometimes challenging in terms of one parent believing the other is excluding him or her from being involved in those the decision making process. So it's a process, and it involves communication, give and take. It involves a collaborative effort in reaching a resolution for said conflict or said decision making. And sometimes parents don't agree. And then that's when the exclusion comes out, of the appearance of somebody's opinion and input being excluded. So, in particular, the child typically lives with one parent most of the time, and the other parent gets visitation, or even if they get equal time, there's one parent who's considered either the sole custodian or the domiciliary parent, and that parent typically gets to be the deciding decision making when there's disagreement. So how can you push through when there's disagreement? Some of the skill set and some of the tools that are necessary to push through that disagreement rest in how the issues are communicated, and and when we talk about communication, we're talking about a process by which information is exchanged between the two parents. And how is that done? Are you navigating communication that you all are having these in-person conversations? Is the communication being done through text form, written form? Is it some type of app that you're using? And how do you receive and understand and process the feedback from the other parent without it being this quasi or this fake process, such that, yeah, you can say it, I'm going to tell you, but at the end of the day, it's really me who's making a decision. And that problematic process of not truly listening to and taking the input of the non-custodial parent, or the parent that does not have the authority to make the decision, is problematic. And the hope is that through this conversation or through conversations, you're able to truly listen and hear what the other parent is saying and value that parent's input and that parent's opinion about making decisions for his or her child regarding what school the child should go to and why a particular school has certain attributes or certain factors or certain benefits that your child could um, benefit from. So hear out the other parent and make sure that you listen and you provide feedback and conversation, not just giving your opinion and then the decision is made. So that the impasses that happen when it comes to decision making is really at the hierarchy of conflicts when one parent believes that his or her decision input is not valued, it's not heard, it's not appreciated, it's not added to the dialogue of true decision making, and it could hinder effective co-parenting. So, some of the takeaways and how do you navigate through that decision making process is determine what's the best form of communication between the two parties, between the two parents. Is it person to person? Is it we need to sit down and maybe we're having this conversation over some coffee or some pizza or in an environment that lends itself to listening to the other party. And also, how is it heard? How do you demonstrate? How do you effectively communicate that you're hearing, understanding, and processing the other person's position, and that you're not just making a decision because you're going through this formality of, oh, I had to tell you, and this is what a decision needs to be made on. And I gave him an opportunity to engage, and I still get to make the decision. Again, that's problematic. It lends itself to conflict that makes it such that one party does not feel empowered to participate and to engage. And those issues of conflict, of those issues where you really need to sit down and have these conversations, or to put it in writing. And when you put it in writing, it's not an opportunity for a rant, but it's an opportunity to create a question that you truly are seeking a response to, so that you can continue to dialogue around the issue of education, spiritual upbringing, medical decisions, extracurricular activities, and financial support, and how you're navigating those issues. It needs to be from a place that's not condescending. It needs to be from a place of cooperation and collaboration. Effective co-parenting at its core, at its essence, is about, once we've figured out already how the time is shared, it's about how we're making decisions or how parents are making decisions to help place their child in an environment that is the most productive, so that that child gets the benefit of the knowledge and expertise of both parents and the good and the bad of both parents. And if it appears that one parent is at a disadvantage, it creates, or it could create, an environment that's not best for your child. So when a party believes he or she is not being heard, it creates this tension that does not necessarily need to be created when an opportunity to hear and to receive is created. So that's what, or where parents should be operating from. And that's where decision making comes from. And being open to hear, to receive, to accept that your way is not necessarily the only way. It's not necessarily the right way. It's not necessarily the best way, but collaboration would guide you two together to make a good decision for children and for your child in particular. So I would suggest that you text, you email, you use an app. And if you have reached the point that you are able to dialogue and listen to each other without without being disrespectful, without being condescending, then pick up the telephone or go and have that tea, that you're able to listen and to come to a resolution about what's best for your child's education, what's best for your child medical needs, what's best for the spiritual upbringing, what's best financially to support those extracurricular activities. That would be my tidbit, my suggestions, my advice today in co-parent court on the issue of decision making. So until next time, it is our hope that you decide to do it co and not go at it solo. Until next time, I'm your host, Judge Rochelle Jackson. And don't forget to like, follow, share us on any of our social media platforms, to include um, our website, where you could drop us an email, send us a message that you want to come and share your particular instance or issues on co-parent court. We'll be more than happy to entertain your request to join us. But until then, continue to share, like, and follow us on social media. Have a great day. Thank you for your time. That was a lot of.